Ghostbox, Mistaken Identity. Narrated by Clifford Ryder. This is a true story about Walter Reid. Walter was not what you'd call a reckless man. He doesn't jaywalk, he rinses out his recyclables, he never once brought a cart home from the grocery store, not even during the pandemic. He parked it right where it belongs, wheels aligned, nose facing out. He believes in systems, in courtesy, and keeping his lawn short, which is why it took him a minute too long to realize he had made a mistake. A strange, stupid mistake. It started on a Tuesday. Nothing notable about it. No full moon, no solar eclipse, no premonitions in the coffee grounds. He needed paper towels and milk, maybe some soup if the shelves weren't wiped clean again. So, he drove down to the market, parked where he always parked, row C, end space, under that tree that drops those sticky pods in the spring. He remembered thinking the car next to him was practically a twin to his, gray Honda CR-V, same dull finish, same roof rack. Only difference he noticed was a small bumper sticker on the back, something about a national park he had not been to. Didn't think much of it. 15 minutes inside. Quick and clean. Paid in cash. No distractions. He didn't even stop for a sample. He came out, saw his car, unlocked it with the fob, climbed in. It responded. No alarms, no resistance. The engine started up smoothly, just like it always does. Radio came on, some jazz station he did not remember programming, but he figured maybe he bumped it yesterday without realizing, and off he went. It wasn't until he was 3 blocks from home that he noticed the smell. Not a bad smell. Pine. One of those dangling air fresheners, the little green trees. He did not use air fresheners. Can't stand them. Reminded him of truck stop bathrooms and teenage attempts to cover up cigarette smoke. He glanced up at the mirror, looked around. He thought. He saw an umbrella in the back seat, red and yellow plaid, loud enough to cause a distraction in a storm. He never owned an umbrella like that in his life. And just as he pulled into his driveway, he saw it. The dent. Small, subtle, passenger side wheel well, but he would have noticed. He should have noticed. He parked, turned the engine off, sat there with both hands on the wheel. He looked at the keys in the cup holder. The fob matched his. Same make, same model, same little rubber scratch over the lock button. He opened the glove box. Not his insurance. Not his registration. Ivan Alexander. North Side address. He exhaled like someone punched the air out of his ribs. "Walter, you old fool," he muttered. He had driven the wrong damn car home. Walter didn't panic. He wasn't the panicking type. He believed in cause and effect. You make a mistake. You correct it. That's how life works. How it should work. So, he did what any reasonable man would do. He grabbed the receipt from the grocery bag, time-stamped, proof in hand, and turned the car right back on. The GPS was still set to the last destination, the market. That, at least, made sense. Walter glanced once more at the name on the registration, Ivan Alexander. He didn't recognize it. The address was only 6 miles away, North Side. Apartment complex, if he remembered right. He was probably worried sick by now, or maybe furious. He didn't blame him either way. He pulled out of the driveway, heart steady, if not entirely calm. At the store, the lot had changed. His spot, row C, far end, was taken. No sign of his Honda, no familiar nick on the mirror, no comfort. Maybe Ivan drove it off by mistake, too. Maybe it was some ridiculous double coincidence. Or maybe something worse. He walked into the store, stood politely in line at customer service behind a woman returning canned peas and a man asking for cigarette coupons. When it was his turn, he leaned slightly over the counter and said, "Hi there." This is going to sound strange. He explained the mix-up, how he must have taken the wrong gray Honda CR-V, how the fob worked anyway, how he'd like to return the car to its rightful owner and pick up his own. The teenage girl behind the counter blinked twice, then called for a manager. The manager was a man with too much starch in his collar and not enough patience in his day. "We don't have cameras in the lot," he said, scratching his temple. "You want to report a stolen car? That's police business." Walter tried to smile. "I'm not reporting anything stolen. I'm returning something I accidentally borrowed. Same difference these days." He left the store, the dented Honda still humming quietly at the curb where he'd parked it. He wasn't sure what irritated him more, the situation or the fact that no one seemed all that surprised. Walter sat in the driver's seat again. His groceries were still in the back, sweating under the weak sun. The milk had started to warm. He made the next logical stop, the police station. The police station was 9 blocks away. He drove there slowly, turned off the radio, tried not to think about how ridiculous he would sound trying to explain this. At the front desk, he asked to speak with an officer about a vehicle mix-up. The clerk behind the glass raised a skeptical eyebrow. "Mix-up?" Walter sighed. "I took the wrong car. It was unintentional. My car and this one look exactly the same. I can explain. You're admitting to vehicle theft?" Walter's lips tightened. "I'm reporting a mistake." 10 minutes later, a detective named Ruiz came out to speak with him. Young guy, efficient but not unkind. Walter explained everything again, how it happened, when he noticed, why he came in. Ruiz took notes, asked for ID, took the keys, then gave him that look, the kind officers give when they're deciding if you're a confused old man or a criminal mastermind. "We'll need to impound the car for inspection," Ruiz said. "You said there was a dent?" "Yes. We'll also run the plates and VIN number, see what pops." "You said the name on the registration was Ivan Alexander?" Walter nodded. Ruiz made a note. "We'll contact the registered owner. In the meantime, you're free to go. But stay local." Walter blinked. "Local?" "Standard procedure," the detective said. "Just until we sort things out." By the time Walter stepped out of the station, the sun was down. The air had turned sharper than he expected. He walked home. No car, no answers, no clue what would happen next. But just as he reached his front steps, bag of groceries still swinging from one hand, he froze. His front door was cracked open, and he knew he hadn't left it that way. Walter stared at the door. Not open wide, just an inch. But that was an inch too far. He hadn't forgotten to close it. He hadn't left it unlocked. He was sure of that. He remembered the click of the deadbolt when he left, the feel of the knob sticking slightly like it always did when the humidity was up. Now it hung there, quiet, like a held breath. Walter took a slow step forward. The plastic grocery bag rustled in his hand. The milk inside was now room temperature. The soup cans clinked together softly. He pushed the door open with the back of his hand. The house was dark, too dark. Not the cozy kind of dark. Not, "I forgot to leave the lamp on." No, this was a deliberate kind of dark, like someone had gone through and made sure everything was off. He stepped inside. The air was still, the kind of still that makes you feel like you've walked in after something happened, not before. "Hello?" he called, voice low, controlled. Nothing. He crossed the threshold slowly, scanned the living room. TV off, curtains drawn, everything in its place, except there were 2 mugs on the counter. He only owned one. Walter set the groceries down slowly. His house was clean, predictable. He didn't drink coffee anymore, not since the ulcer back in 2006, and yet the scent of espresso lingered faintly in the air. He walked toward the kitchen, deliberately slow, like an old warhorse refusing to gallop until he had a reason. That's when he saw the shadow, seated at the kitchen table, motionless, a man wearing black, short-cropped hair, wide shoulders, hands folded calmly on the table like he'd been waiting for hours. Walter didn't speak. The man did. "You drive fast," he said in an accent Walter didn't recognize immediately. Eastern European, Russian, maybe. Walter didn't respond. "You have something of mine," the man said. Walter's mouth was dry. "You're Ivan?" The man tilted his head just slightly. "You're not law enforcement. You are not a thief. You are, what, retired teacher? Maybe postal worker?" Walter didn't answer. Ivan stood, not rushed, not angry, just stood. He was taller than Walter expected, taller than most, calm in a way that didn't seem quite human. "There was something in that car," Ivan said. "Tell me what you did with it." Walter blinked. "I drove it home. That's all. I didn't." Ivan raised a hand. "Don't lie. You opened the glove box. You read my name." "I just wanted to return it," Walter said, voice rising despite himself. "I thought it was mine. I noticed the dent and—" "The dent," Ivan said, stepping closer now. "Yes, a problem." Walter took a step back. "I went to the police," he said. "They have the car now." I told them everything. Yvonne's expression didn't change. "Then you're not my problem," he said quietly. And just as quickly as he'd appeared, he turned and walked past Walter, out the front door, down the steps, and disappeared into the night. Walter locked the door behind him. All the locks, even the one on the screen door he hadn't used in 10 years. He stood there, back to the door, heart pounding. He wasn't sure what scared him more, that the man had broken into his house, or that he hadn't broken anything at all. He'd let himself in, like he belonged. Walter didn't sleep that night. He didn't even try. He sat in the recliner with the hallway light on, the baseball bat across his lap. The kind you keep around for home defense, even if you've never swung it outside a backyard game with the neighbor's kids. The house never creaked that much before. Every gust of wind against the siding, every tick of the baseboard heat, every passing car. He listened, eyes fixed on the door. Ivan's voice still echoed in his head. "There was something in that car. Tell me what you did with it." By morning, Walter made 2 decisions. 1. He would not go to work, not that anyone was expecting him, but just in case. 2. He would find out who Ivan Alexander really was. He started online. Ivan's name didn't turn up much. No social media, no local listings, no complaints, no record. The address on the registration matched a Northside apartment complex called Ashview Towers, not the kind of place you move into for the view. He thought about calling Detective Ruiz, telling him what had happened. But something held him back. Walter wasn't sure if it was pride or fear. Instead, he called the complex. "Hi," he said, clearing his throat. "I'm trying to reach Ivan Alexander." "Lives in 4B, I believe." A pause on the other end. "Sir, we don't have a tenant by that name." "You're sure?" "I've been the manager for 9 years," she said. "There's no Ivan here." Walter thanked her and hung up, then stared at the wall for a long while. A few hours later, Ruiz called him. "We got the results back from the VIN and registration," the detective said. Walter gripped the phone tighter. Name's a dead end. Bogus paperwork. Plates are from an auction car resold out of state. No traceable owner. No insurance match. Whoever Ivan Alexander is, he doesn't exist. At least not on paper. Walter closed his eyes. He was in my kitchen last night. Ruiz went quiet. What? Walter explained. Carefully. Everything. From the moment he came home to the second, the man walked out the door without a word of threat, but with every implication. You should have called that in right away, Ruiz said, voice sharpening. You realize this makes things worse for you? I was trying not to escalate it, Walter said. He said I wasn't his problem. Not yet, Ruiz replied, but that doesn't mean you're off the hook. That night, someone knocked at Walter's door. Not Yvonne, a woman, mid-30s, blonde ponytail, denim jacket with a tear near the sleeve. She looked nervous, looked like she hadn't slept either. Mr. Reid? She asked. Yes. I think I know why he came to see you. Walter opened the door just a little wider. She held up a photograph. It was Ivan. Same expression, same calm eyes, and next to him, her. I'm his sister, she said. Or, I used to be. Walter gestured her inside. He didn't know it yet, but this was the beginning of the real story. She didn't sit at first. Lena stood just inside the doorway, arms crossed, shifting her weight like someone not used to standing still. Walter offered her tea, water, coffee. She declined them all. Finally, she perched on the edge of the couch like a cat ready to bolt. I'm sorry to come here like this, she said. I wasn't sure if I should. But once I heard about the car, the dent, your name in the report, I figured if Ivan hadn't already been here, he would be soon. Walter stayed quiet. He'd learned over the years that people fill silence faster than they answer questions. Lena did. I haven't seen my brother in almost 5 years. I changed my name after the last time Walter raised an eyebrow. Changed it? Legally. He doesn't know it, or he didn't, until maybe now. She handed him the photo again. Ivan and Lena, both younger, happier maybe, or at least pretending to be. I was Lena Alexander then. I'm Lena Hart now. Walter studied the photo. Ivan had the same calm gaze, same straight-backed posture, but younger, thinner, more dangerous somehow. He's not who you think he is, Lena said. He's not who anyone thinks he is. Walter nodded slowly. Good, because I don't know who the hell he is. She started talking. Not in a rush, not breathless. Just matter-of-fact, like someone telling you how the weather got bad and never cleared. Ivan was born in Moldova, raised in Bucharest, moved to the States when he was 22. He was smart, scary smart, spoke 5 languages, learned systems fast, banking, logistics, IT security. He worked his way into circles that weren't advertised in the business journals. And then, Walter asked. Lena stared at the carpet. Then he disappeared for 2 years. When he came back, he had cash. A lot of it. And stories I didn't believe. Stories? Things about people who owed him favors. About jobs that never got reported. About hiding things in plain sight. She looked up. He talked about the glove compartment a lot. Walter felt his stomach twist. I think he used that car, Lena said. The one you took? I think he used it for more than just driving. Walter frowned. Like what? She hesitated. Pickups, drops, messages. I don't know the details, but I know he called it his Ghostbox. Said no one would ever think to check the compartment of a normal, boring car. Walter swallowed hard. The glove box was empty when I opened it. Not always, she said. And if Ivan thinks you found something, you're in danger. Walter rubbed his jaw, thinking. I didn't find anything. Just his name on the registration. That's it? Are you sure? Yes. Lena stood up, pacing now. That doesn't mean he believes you. He trusts no one, not even me. She pulled something from her jacket pocket and handed it to Walter. It was a folded piece of paper, a printed email, from an address Walter didn't recognize. The subject line read, CRV for BHITDENTCONFIRMED PACKAGEMOVED. Walter stared at the message. What is this? Lena shook her head. I don't know who sent it, but it came in 2 hours after you took that car. Walter sat down, hard. The timing, the dent, the visit. Everything wasn't coincidence. It was being watched, tracked. Lena leaned in. Ivan won't hurt you without reason, but if he thinks you intercepted something or worse, turned it in. Walter looked up. I did. I brought the car to the police. Lena's face went pale. Oh, God, she whispered. Then it's already too late. Walter had always believed in logic, in the kind of world where things made sense. But now, sitting at his kitchen table with a stranger named Lena and a cryptic email about a dented car, he realized something quietly terrifying. He was already in over his head, and he had no idea how far the drop was. What do you mean, too late? He asked. Lena didn't answer at first. She was staring at her phone, thumbs twitching, not texting, just refreshing. Over and over. Once he thinks the package is in police custody, she finally said, he'll assume two things. One, that someone set him up, and two, that someone's going to talk. Walter blinked. But there was no package. I told you, there was nothing in the glove box. Lena's eyes locked onto his. Did you check the false bottom? Silence. Walter leaned back, the memory flooding back fast and clumsy. He hadn't checked. Of course not. Why would he? I didn't even know it had one, he muttered. It's custom. Ivan installed them himself. He used to test them. He'd hide things inside and time how long it took people to find them. It was a game to him. Walter stood suddenly, knocking over his chair. He walked to the kitchen drawer, pulled out a notepad and pen, and started sketching the layout of the glove compartment. If it was there, he said, mostly to himself, then it's with the police now. Lena nodded grimly. Then we have a problem. They spent the next hour in Walter's den, combing through everything he remembered, where the car was parked, what time he arrived at the store, the clerk's expression at customer service. Every detail, no matter how small. Walter felt like a student again, except the test was whether or not he'd survive the week. You need to talk to the police, Lena said at last. All of it. Now, I already did, Walter replied, but not about this. They think I just drove off in the wrong car. Once they hear about false compartments and ghost boxes, they'll think you're involved. Exactly. Later that night, Walter sat on his front steps, alone. Lena was gone. She didn't stay long. Said she couldn't be seen with him. Not after Ivan had been there. Said she'd contact him soon. Gave him a burner phone she called a loner. He didn't ask questions. He just took it. And now the sun had dipped below the trees and left only questions in its wake. That's when he noticed the car again, parked across the street. Engine off, lights out, same car that had passed by the night before, same shape, same dented bumper. Walter stood, squinting into the shadows. No movement inside, no sound. Just presence, the kind that sticks to your ribs and doesn't let go. He went inside and picked up his old flip phone. the one with 3 numbers saved: his brother, his doctor, and the local Chinese takeout. He deleted the takeout, added Detective Ruiz. It was time to stop assuming this would blow over. Ruiz answered after 2 rings, gruff but awake. "Detective Ruiz." "It's Reid." Walter Reid, pause. "I remember. There's something in that car. Hidden. You need to check the glove box. Pull the liner out. Look under it. I think there's a false compartment." Another pause. "We've already impounded it," Ruiz said slowly. "Processing's not done. But I can put a flag on it first thing tomorrow." "No," Walter said. "Not tomorrow. Now." Ruiz exhaled. "Okay, sit tight." Walter hung up, but he knew it was already too late. Somewhere, someone else had already opened the box, and whoever they weren't going to like what they found. Walter barely slept. Again. When he did, it came in flashes. Taillights in the dark, keys that didn't fit, doors that opened into empty rooms. Continue to Ghostbox Part 2.